So in my video comparing the NiSi VND to the Freewell V2, I called the Freewell the champion of screw-on filters as they had an unchallenged ease of use in addition to doubling as a CPL filter. And now, it seems that NiSi is coming back swinging with a new JetMag Pro VND 1 to 5 stop, which simplifies the use of variable ND filters further. The Freewell goes from 3 stops to 7 stops, so if you're using a fast lens, it's usually a perfect range in Norwegian summers. But when the summer ends, you might want to go down to 1 stop, which it can't. And when you travel outside of Norway, there's no real way to increase the strength past 7 stops. This is where the NiSi JetMag Pro shines, as it goes all the way down to 1 stop. And even though it only goes up to 5 stops, you can easily switch this into a 5 to 9 stop variable ND by stacking a fixed ND filter on top of that again. I still love the Freewell, however, and I stand by the fact that they're a great value for the money, as they're quick to use and can be doubled as a circular polarizer. But this one can do that and more. So I've had this filter for about 3 weeks now, and I even used it in my time in Greece, where I filmed my own wedding. The short story said, I'm very happy that I ended up bringing this one instead of the Freewell. And its main reason is that it's easy to use and can be pushed to 10 stops, which definitely was needed in Greece. To get started with the system, you'll need a magnetic step ring, which comes with some of the filter sets, which is screw onto the lens, and the filter then magnetically attaches to the lens. The step rings comes in sizes of 62, 67, 72, and 82mm filter threads, and all of them steps all the way up to 82. While with the Freewell, you could get stepped rings all the way down to 49mm. NiSi is also going to be selling a 95mm version of this filter, which was what I originally wanted to try, but they're still not available. Having the 95mm version would let me use this filter together with bigger cinema lenses like the DZ0 RLs or similar, without the need of step-down rings. So if that's lenses that you tend to use, I would wait for that version to come available. Once the step rings is on the lens, you simply keep your filter close to the lens and it will magnetically attach to the thread. The magnetic connection isn't strong enough to cause issues getting it off again, but the magnetic force secures it enough for quick shooting without needing to do anything else. To get a secure connection, however, you simply turn the filter to align with the mark on the thread and it'll never fall off. Unless, of course, you're being stupid while making B-roll of your video and you don't see the marks on the lens and you push it outwards. Let's just count this as a durability test, where I'd say it gets a 10 out of 10, as this is the 3rd time I'm dropping the filter and it still has no visible marks. Me dropping the filter the first 2 times was just because I wasn't used to the mechanics. If you stack in filters, you need the second filter to be aligned with the outer variable ND and not the actual base mark. The absolute first one is just the base of the ND, and the second one is the actual variable ND. So if the outer filter, the stacking for filters, is not aligned with the outer variable, then it will come loose. But if you keep it aligned with the second one, it doesn't go anywhere. And the same goes for the base. If you just keep everything aligned with the base, it's not going anywhere. Twist it a little bit and it goes loose. As mentioned, this filter also doubles as a CPL filtration, which requires you to physically rotate the actual filter for it to show different reflections. Since the filters require you to align the 2 marks of it to secure it in place, once you actually start turning the filter for different reflections, the filter will not be locked in place. This makes it complicated to use if you're planning to do any type of car shoots where you want to remove the reflections of the window and secure the camera to the car. I actually tested this on my wedding trip to Greece, and I mounted the suction cup to the car and had the NiSi JetMag connected to the lens. As I didn't want the filter to come loose, I preferred to just lock it in place and instead rotate the actual variable ND filter to hit the desired effect of the CPL. This of course means you need to adjust your light levels using ISO and aperture instead of the ND. But for this specific shot, it was more important to remove some of the reflections than to have the perfect background separation. NiSi also sells a ton of different creative filtrations, which you can stack the same way as you would with a fixed ND. But I haven't tried any other accessories than the 4-stop, which makes it possible to reach 10 stops with the variable. I was quite excited, however, when I saw that they also sold IR cut filters, as then you can stack that on top of the ND and remove possibilities of moire or other artifacts from my Lumix camera and the older Blackmagic cameras. But I didn't manage to convince myself to pull the trigger, as it was another 120 euros without knowing how happy I was going to be with this ND system. As I was so happy with the filter when I was out testing it on my trip, I actually decided to order another one of these filters, but now with a flex kit, as it included a filter bag, a back and front cap, as well as 4 different adapter rings of different sizes. This is such a better value than getting all the filters by itself, as you literally only get the filter, not even an adapter included in the bag. So I have 2 of these adapters right now. I have 1 lens cap and no back cap. That was a big enough expense for me. And when the filter adapters go for 20 euros each, if you buy them separately, and both the back and front cap is sold for a massive 35 euros each, you'll end up spending about 90 euros if you want the basic of accessories to use for every lens that you have, in addition to the actual filter's own cost. When I started looking through my footage when I got back and doing a few tests for this review, I actually ended up cancelling my order for the second JetMag filter for the simple reason that the vignetting is quite strong. I have no clue why this is it, because the filters in themselves is quite thin for a variable ND, and the fixed ND that you stack it with is even thinner. And by the way, when thinking to buy this myself, I couldn't figure out if you could stack first the fixed ND and then stack the variable ND, which I know you can't do with a lot of other systems. But I'm happy to announce that if you put the fixed, you can still put the variable on top of that again, and it works as intended. Just leaving the single 1:5 VND on my 33mm t1.8 anamorphic lens, I'm already vignetting at 1 stop. Increasing the strength to 5 stops doesn't really increase the vignette, and even though anamorphic lenses in an open gate camera obviously vignette more than a regular filter on a 16:9 sensor, I didn't believe my own results and I had to go out once again. This time I used my spherical 35-150 lens, and once again on 35mm on open gate, I was vignetting a bit when stacking a single 4-stop VND on top of the variable ND. For some reason, I couldn't find my Freewell VND after coming home from Greece, and I still have no clue where it is, but I really don't remember it vignetting this badly. I looked at this side-by-side comparison of no ND filter compared to 9-stop on the NiSi ND on a 45mm anamorphic in open gate. You can see how much the darkness digs into the actual image. Vignetting is something I'm not actually too bothered by, as I tend to add some in post, but the vignetting of this was a bit too much for me to justify owning 2 of these and making it my forever ND system. As my plan for the second pair of ND filters was just to use it on my B angle for weddings and such, I was curious to see how much of an image quality I would lose if I just were to use the cheapest possible screw-on filters instead of having the convenience of the NiSi. So the reason I own these in the first place was not because I needed fixed ND filters, but rather because they're sold in a bundle with close focus filters of different strength, this being 10, CPL filters, UV filter, and everything in this set was included for the insane price of under $50 on AliExpress. The price has since increased a little, but it's incredible value for the money of such a reputable brand as Neewer, so I couldn't recommend these enough. As people who's been watching my videos probably know, I love my mic adapter, which adapts lenses from all kinds of mounts such as L, E, RF, Z mount to PL lenses, while still having a built-in slot for variable ND filters. As this adapter also goes to 9 stops, I tested the Mikey against the NiSi as well, and I find myself preferring the Mikey because of the vignetting of the NiSi. This, in addition to it doubling as a PL adapter and costing only $280 with a clear filter included. My biggest gripe with this adapter, however, is the fact that the glass sits in the middle here, so if you have PL lenses which protrudes a bit too much in the back, such as my 33mm t1.8 from Blazar, you can't really use it together with that adapter. And of course, I can't use that adapter either when I'm needed to shoot on L-mount lenses, so I still need a screw-on ND filter for that use case, and I will for those use cases be using the NiSi system, as it's too convenient to ignore. I'm just not crazy happy about the vignetting. I still have a few gigs this summer that I need to prioritize before I can start editing my own wedding video, but I'm really looking forward to show my attempt of filming my own wedding, so stay tuned for that. I'm still definitely interested in the 95mm variant once that's released, as I'd be very surprised if that ended up vignetting on a full frame sensor as well. But I'm quite happy with this filter system until the 95mm version becomes available on the used market. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully subscribing. I'll leave this video up next for you to watch, and I hope these tests was as helpful for you as it was for me, and have a good one.